Welcome back to the Sherwood Urban Farm. In today's video, I just want to discuss something that I'm often asked when I tell people about my vegetable garden, or they know that I have a vegetable garden. Then the question always seems to come up like, well, don't you spend a lot of time pulling out weeds and weeding? Or they'll say, I'm just in the garden all the time and all I'm doing is pulling out weeds, and that's just soul destroying. That's really not fun. So the truth be told is I do have weeds, but I don't have any kind of weed pressure. There's a difference. So how I do that is when I'm going about in the garden and I'm busy harvesting something or I'm planting something in and I spot a little weed, then I'll pull it out. I don't leave it there so that it gets bigger. The other tip is that if you practice the no-till practices or method, then you will not be exposing the weed seeds which are hidden in the soil. So you're going to always have some form of weeds, because the birds are going to be flying over and they're going to be dropping seeds in your garden, or the seeds of the grasses will blow in. I've been having that quite a bit lately, but it's never that I feel like I'm overrun with weeds. So as I'm going about, then I'm continuously pulling out a weed here or there as it grows, but it's really small. And on that same point, I don't even use any tools, because when you're pulling them out when they're small like that, then you don't need a tool because their roots have not established properly, and you don't need to sort of be digging them out like you would maybe be pulling out weeds in your lawn or something. So that's one thing. I don't even use a hoe, because in my mind that's just lightly. Even if you're gently disturbing the soil, you're still disturbing the soil, which means you're still going to be bringing up some weed seeds. Now, even in my compost, when I make my compost, I have all the neighbors bringing their lawn clippings. Even the lawnmower services will come and they will drop off their lawn clippings, and sometimes there's a lot of seeds. I can see them, they're in there, and I still use that compost once it's ready, because some of those seeds will die in the process of making compost. And even if they don't and they do start to germinate, I'm not going to allow them to get to this state where they are going to become this huge problem. So as they're starting to just stick their little green leaves out, I'm pulling them out. Another tip is to mulch your beds. Now, I have recently started mulching my bed, not for weed pressure at all, just because we are now heading for summer, and I don't want to be watering all the time, and I want the roots of the plants to be nice and cool. So that's the reason why I'm using straw. And the other thing is to have a dense canopy. So I often plant closer than what is recommended, specifically with spinach. I'll multi-sow spinach, and I'm harvesting all the time, every day, sometimes twice a day. I'll come to a bed and I'll harvest off leaves. So they never get really big, but what is nice about that is it causes quite a dense sort of canopy over the soil, which helps to keep the soil nice and moist and helps with evaporation. And then there isn't much light that is reaching to the soil, so the weeds it's not ideal condition for weeds to grow. The thing with weeds is, a weed is just a plant that you don't want in that specific place. So for me, weeds can be gooseberries and tomatoes, volunteer tomatoes. They're everywhere, and that I see as a weed. Those are my two biggest weeds. So the soil, if you have the soil covered, then either if you're covering it with a mulch or a compost, or if you have got roots in the soil and there's a good canopy, then the soil feels sort of protected, and it's not trying to protect itself by allowing weeds to grow up. So those are my sort of tips that I would give to anybody. Don't feel like don't be discouraged and think, oh, I can't garden, I just don't have enough time. If you're using no-dig vegetable gardening or even regular gardening, then it cuts down on an enormous amount of time that you would be spending weeding and turning over soil and digging in compost, because all you're doing is just laying it on the top like you would, like the forests, you know, the leaves and all the stuff just falls, and as it's falling, it's creating compost. I hope you enjoyed this video, and share it with your friends, and like and subscribe, you know the drill. And I'd really just feel encouraged, guys. Don't be scared. It's got nothing to do with green fingers, green thumbs, green anything of the sort. If you're doing the no-dig vegetable gardening method, it's just so much easier, and you will not have the kind of weed pressure that folk have, which are continuously turning their soil over.